Welcome to the Porter Pridecast. We are on episode number 6. I'm one of your hosts. Like Jordan. I'm one of your hosts, Brett Hespel, boys basketball, social studies at Lockport High School, joined with my other host, Mr. Adam DeCare, football, social studies at Lockport High School. How we doing, DeCare?
Doing pretty good. Football has started back. We're in phase 1 of beginning the season, so getting some conditioning in. So it is good to be long overdue, but it is good to be back out on the football field in any capacity. So been pretty excited about that, as well as the fame and fortune that the Porter Pridecast has brought to our lives.
Yes, thousands of views.
Intrinsic value, I should say.
That's right. So we are at the beginning of the summer here in 2020. We've just finished the school year. We just finished the school year that was marked by the COVID-19 pandemic, where it saw the large majority of spring sport events, almost entire seasons, get canceled. Only a few select things took place. Here on the Porter Pridecast, in our first 5 episodes, we went over the top 10 highlights of the 2019-2020 season, which we just got done wrapping up. What did you think about that?
Oh, I had a blast. It was great to, with all the negativity and everything going on with COVID. It was nice to highlight the successes that we were able to have in the fall and the winter seasons. And unfortunately, we didn't get to have the spring, which is why we want to do this episode. But I really enjoyed getting to highlight all the successes and kind of bring some of that light. And it was great to have our three guests on with Marcos, Donnie, and Sawyer. So to hear their perspective, it was kind of cool to them being involved in the programs, but also the 3 leaders of L-Town, and the 3 of them are all over the place at all different events. So that was a cool perspective to get to hear.
Yeah, no doubt. It was a lot of fun. It was good to recap some stuff and remind everybody in Porter Nation how many great things did happen. I see you out there on Twitter and on Instagram following us and watching the Porter Pridecast. We are going to do our best to continue to bring to you all the highlights. And we wanted to dedicate one episode here to the spring sports that were not this spring because of the cancellations. And so we're going to do something a little different. We have our first live callers calling into because DeCare, this is the place that you get analysis on Lockport Porters that you will not get anywhere else. Nowhere.
That's right. As we say, nobody talks Porters like we talk Porters. So we are sad to see our 3 seniors, proud of them for graduating, sad to see them go off the show, but we are excited to invite on our first live call-in guest. So I'm ready to go.
We have some great guests in store for you. We've got some newer members of the Lockport coaching community. We've got some grizzled veterans of the Lockport coaching community. We might even have some people traveling join the show. It's going to be
you never know what's going to happen on the podcast. You never know what you're going to get.
Episode 6 is going to be maybe the best one yet. And we want to get started by talking about one of our spring sports. So let's roll here. So what we're going to do here is we've got a few call-in guests today. Some of the best known Lockport Porter faculty members calling in on episode 6 here. We're going to get started with boys volleyball. This program has been on the rise lately under the leadership of Nick Mraz, and this season, I'm sure, was going to be another one of success. They've won over 20 matches most of the last few years here. We'll ask Coach Mraz how many that was. I know he'll know, but definitely a program on the up and up. And we're going to hear some things in just a minute about boys volleyball. What do you think about? I wore my shirt.
Oh,
yeah.
I donated both of mine, so I just got my Porter Pride on.
Any thoughts here about boys volleyball before Mraz joins us on the
yeah.
broadcast?
I mean, we talked about, Coach Mraz being the head coach of the boys and girls program, we obviously touched on the girls program in our top 10 series, episode 1. But I think that success carries over from, his girls program in the fall to the boys program in the spring. When he first took over, he branded that building a tradition. And I think that's all he's done, day in and day out since taking over that program. So, definitely think that they, like you said, they're on the rise and the up and up. And I'm sure they would have continued that success had the season started.
Yeah, they've also had a few guys go on to play college volleyball the last few years. Maybe we can have him highlight a couple of those. I don't know if any of this year's class was on that track or not. I can't remember, to be honest with you, off the top of my head. So, but we're gonna hear from Coach Mraz here any minute now. As soon as we get our first call-in guest on the Porter Pridecast, it's a momentous occasion.
It's been a long time coming.
5 whole episodes.
We knew this day was coming at some point.
Here we are.
Now we'll see if the phone even rings.
Ladies and gentlemen, fans of Porters everywhere, I present to you the very first call-in guest on the Porter Pridecast, the one, the only, Nick Mraz. Welcome to the show.
Coach Haspel, I'm so excited to be here for many, many reasons. One, I got to say, you've been doing an amazing job. Personally, you've been doing a great job carrying the show with a backstabber sitting next to you who likes to slander me.
And we're at our first commercial break here.
I just had to throw it out there to the Pridecast. I made up a trivia question way back on the first episode, and I got blasted by the man behind the scenes, Adam DeCare.
I kept my mouth shut.
His question. Now we can move on. Made my peace.
Got that off your chest. That's good. So that's I know you feel better. Hey, I just want to let you know I'm repping the volleyball shirt today. So
what about the backstabber? How about him?
I donated both of mine, so I need another one.
Knew it would turn out that way.
Unreal.
DeCare, fire away, man.
All right, so the reason we had you on was not to talk about me. It was about your boys program. We just highlighted, how you're the head coach of both the girls and the boys volleyball program. So kind of thinking about the spring season, what were you most looking forward to on the court? How was the season in your mind? How do you see that going to be playing out?
Yeah, we came into the year with a lot of experience because we only graduated 3 seniors last year. So we started a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors who were ready to, take over, run the show again. This year, we had 5 seniors on the roster, great leadership, and then the guys just as an entire whole were great friends on and off the floor. Yeah. So that camaraderie was just going to make it, a fun year. We had 26 wins last year, lost a 3-setter in the regional with mainly all sophomores and juniors, and those guys were hungry to go finish the job. So it's a shame that, it was cut short. We only had 5 days actually, because we start a week later for some reason. Maybe the IHSA will watch this and explain to us why we start a week later. Who knows? But yeah, we got 5 days in and it was just cut short, and it's just a shame for all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were just talking about the boys program's rise the last few years. You've won 20 games. How many years? Wasn't it been a few years in a row now? Or?
So we're at 5+ years now of 20+, with majority of them 25+. We've been in the regional championship the last 3 years, where we finished in the sectionals. We won one of them and then lost 2 3-setters, which, it just shows the growth that we've had over the years because, the kids are buying in. We're beating the Lincoln Way East, we're beating the Sandbergs, we're beating all those big names, but that's because we want to become one of those big names. So, yeah, we've just been excited on the run we've been on.
Besides on the court stuff, anything you were looking forward to that you guys missed out on that might stand out that you want to share?
Yeah, this group, like I said, gets along really well. they like to plan some things where like last Friday or on Fridays, they like to do like some theme practices, and they always come in with some, who knows, there's a picture hanging up in my room where they're all in their own spandex, borrowed from their siblings or significant others or whatever. But a practice like that, they just make us laugh, and I know that they're missing out on that too, that we couldn't be with each other in person, just because that was the type of group we had. We were really excited to be with everybody, and it's just a shame that we couldn't.
Yeah, it is. Do you care? Are there any other questions, thoughts for boys volleyball here?
No, I think you kind of hit on, Coach just hit on, he wants to be one of those in that conversation with the quote on big names, even though I think, Lockport is one of those programs. And like you said, you wanted to build a tradition. I think that tradition has been built, and you've got there it is. You've got the statistics there to back it up. Coach Hespel called it. He said you would know right off the top of your head how many wins you had, and that I'm sure you were doing calculations before you got on, being the math genius that you are, or genius, I should say. But no, I think
it would have been 5 years in a row of 25 plus wins, but we had a 24 win season thrown in there.
What?
Come on.
Were this senior class, any guys going on to play college volleyball?
So we have Tanner Beatty going on to play at Benedictine. The other, we have Will Menching going on to play at Olivet. And then we had 3 others that honestly could go play somewhere, but they're focusing more on their studies and their future. We just had a talented group, but they're just, focusing their attention elsewhere. That may change, who knows, because recruiting's been all jacked up lately.
Yeah.
But for now, those are the 2 that are going on.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on, the first guest.
I appreciate you coming on.
I feel like
I appreciate you, Coach Hespel.
I feel like it's time to cut you short before you start harassing me or the Porter Pridecast, everyone's favorite show. But it was nice hearing about the season that you didn't get to have, and like we said, I think you've done a good job building a tradition, and we're going to continue that success next time you can get on the court.
All right, I appreciate it, guys.
First ever call-in guest, first ever.
And I'll take this as a care apology. As a care apology, folks.
It is.
It just happened.
It is.
Got it. Commercial.
Mraz, thank you, sir. We'll see you.
See you guys.
Always a pleasure to hear from Coach Mraz. As we said before,
always.
Well, yeah, most of the time. I enjoyed it. As we said before he jumped on, they've been on a run lately, and he highlighted that again. Almost 5 straight years of 25 wins. So definitely missed out on some big moments from our boys volleyball team. Him and his staff and all the kids that have been in it have done a great job of building that lately, building that tradition. So good to hear from him.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be kind of something that we hear from a lot of these coaches, is just that camaraderie aspect. That I feel like that's what a lot of these teams, our school in general, are really close on and off the field or the court or whatever sport you're playing. And that's what really hurts, I think, for me with the spring sports, is all those kids missing out on that and all the fun, like he was alluding to.
Yeah, it's definitely, Porter Pride goes through a lot of programs. And we're about to move on to our second spring sport here. We're going to have our second calling guest who's on the line right now. From girls water polo, we're going to be joined by Coach Derek Sanderson. Here he is. Let's get him in here right now. Here he comes. All right. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend.
Long anticipated.
Coach Derek Sanderson from girls water polo, who I love having him on the show because he makes me look like I have a lot of hair.
That was my job today. So I got the 4 that I had cut just for you.
It looks great. It looks fantastic.
I know I already used half my screen time, so I want to get into this. I got a lot of great things to talk about. But I do want to say thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for doing the show. Big fan. Subscribed myself. Told all my girls. So
it's we're glad you came on. We want to talk just briefly here about the spring season that really didn't happen. But was this your second year as a head coach or first year?
My second year as head coach.
Second year, right? Okay, so So really, you only had one in the bag, and then here you were hit with this one. So, Coach DeCare, how do you want to start us off?
Yeah, again, great to have you on. You knew Coach Sanderson is a huge fan of the show, and he was camping out early in the Zoom
early.
waiting room.
was.
Just was dying to get on. So it's the moment is finally here. We're glad you're here. But so yeah, like we said, unfortunately the season wasn't able to happen. But just kind of wondering, what was your outlook on how you thought things were going to go in the pool with the girls this season?
Overall, we had a lot of promise. We had 6 seniors. One was brand new to the game. One's going to be playing in college. And then we had 2 others who really stepped up over the years and a lot of varsity experience. This is going to be a pretty deadly group, going forward. You have, for those who don't know, 6 on the field at a time and a goalie. And so having, 2 senior goalies and then, 3 other starters who were all seniors, it was going to be a strong lineup for them. So that's kind of unfortunate. One thing that I was really glad we did get to see is, for those of you who've been to a game, to see a full court shot from a goalie is kind of a huge accomplishment. And senior Lexi Nichols was able to do that in that one game that we did have. And so she was able to get that against Mother McCall. So it was a pretty huge thing as a goalie to get to have that, and as a senior. So that was great. And Emily Plazuski in that game had about 8 goals. Savita Chandrana had quite a few assists and steals. All the seniors really showed well there. And so I'm glad they had that opportunity. It showed a lot of promise for the season, but I don't know.
So go ahead, DeCare.
I was just going to say, I had Lexi in class as a freshman, and I made her promise she would score at least one full court goalie before she graduated. So thank you, Lexi, for coming through.
I think she brought that up. That was why she said she had to do it. So.
Yeah, that was the only reason.
Yeah.
Only reason.
Forget the point that you get for it.
You mentioned that one of the girls is going to go play in college?
Yeah, Emily Pazuski's going to be playing at Austin.
Okay, that's cool. So that's good for her, at least. Gets to continue on.
Yeah.
Sounds like, like a lot of coaches have already expressed. I mean, I coach track, so I feel the same thing. Especially those older kids, seniors, who it was their last moment, to miss out on most of the season, if not all of it, is tough. So is there anything, outside of the pool, outside of the competitive realm, that you were kind of looking forward to, that maybe is like a tradition or something that you were like, this is going to be a lot of fun, besides the actual competition that you missed out on, that you want to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of things like during, tournaments. There's, long day, multiple day tournaments. And, last year we went and saw a movie together, a lot of us. And, there was a Barbie pop-up store, and we all got Barbie sunglasses and rocked those. And so I think we were trying to keep that as like a new tradition started last year, to go to the movies and things like that. We had a lot of fundraising money to do like some laser tag and like dodgeball and stuff. And unfortunately we didn't get to do that. But, just try to continue it for next year. And
Yeah, for sure. It's not easy. It's totally disappointing. Got a good underclassmen group. What does that look like for you guys coming back?
We had 20 players who were completely new to the game this year.
Wow.
It was about like 3/4 of our, probably 2/3 of the program were like all, just completely new, not just freshmen, but just new to the game. And, with only 6 seniors, that means there's, there were still a lot of like newer players or players who had to really step up and help, even though they may have only been playing for a year. So a lot of growth though too, which is always cool to watch.
That's a good sign. All those young kids. That's always good. DeCare, what else you got for Coach Sanderson?
No, just sounds like, again, a promising season with a lot of success that would have happened. It's awesome to hear that Emily's moving on and playing. And a positive of you coming on the show is you might now become the second most famous person in Manhattan as a result of
behind
being on the show.
Jason Freary.
Yeah, right. Or is that Brian Mr. Lesnar? Or there's quite a few, I think, that take that. We share that top spot. So
hey, Coach,
huge Pridecast following out here in the
Coach Sanderson. I just want to let you know that unlike you and me, Mr. DeCare is self-conscious about his hairstyle, so that's why he always rocks the hat.
It's on.
See, it's
It's just my thing.
These
I
ball
got to
beard
rep
men.
the
I don't know.
Porters. Just
Uh,
Yeah, I have
repping
my
the
shirt.
Porters.
all right, Coach Sanderson, thanks for joining us for a few minutes. It's exciting to
Thank
hear
you
from
guys
you.
so much.
Take care, man.
Have a good one.
All right, well, that's girls water polo. Coach Sanderson in his second year there as the head coach. So kind of just getting his stamp on the program and didn't even have a chance to put a stamp on it this year, really. Too bad. Any other thoughts on the girls water polo?
Yeah, no, I had never seen a water polo match, and I was asked to work an event a couple years ago, and it's crazy. You know, those girls aren't messing around. You know, it's pretty intense, and it gets a little rowdy in that pool. But you could just tell that, you know, Coach Sanderson has those girls having fun, and they compete. You know, and that's just a shame that they weren't able to do that this season.
So next up, we're going to bring in our boys track and field coach, Mr. Tom Razo. He's joining us right now. Coach Razo.
Coach Raz.
There he is. What's up, man? Yeah, you got to turn your audio on so we can hear you there. All the adoring fans want to hear what you have to say.
That's a rookie move there, coming in with no audio.
There he is.
Oh,
There I am.
We got a live one.
I can't handle you history guys. You guys are all looking the same.
We, you know, before you came on, I was saying, you know, we have a mix of new coaches joining this episode and some grizzled veterans. You fall in the grizzled veterans category.
I can remember me being a new coach at one point in time. Now it's been a
Yeah,
while.
before
Talk about history. Talk about history. Yeah.
There's some history.
I'm glad you were able to join us there, Razo.
I'm excited.
Do you care? Fire away for Coach Razo here.
Yeah. So you know, obviously we're just focused on the spring season that unfortunately was cut short and didn't get to happen. So just looking for some of your thoughts. I know you had a lot of excitement coming into this year, a lot of key pieces and a lot of events coming back from the previous season, very successful as well. So just kind of looking to see what was your outlook for the season on the track.
This year I thought we had experience for sure. The outlook basically was for us to do well in our conference meet, to do well at sectionals, and to try to place high in state. I thought going in we could win sectionals. I thought we could win our conference meet. Even though it would have been a super conference with all the conference schools in it for the first time. So that would have been exciting in itself. And then at the state level, I thought we had an excellent shot with the new guys coming in this year. That gave us some added depth that a lot of people were not aware of. I think we would have put the pieces together with all the coaches, and I think we would have had an outstanding opportunity to place in the top 5 this year.
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, being a track coach, I'm well aware of the talent we had, but you want to talk about it started with Kyle Langelier and Mike Walkos. Just briefly talk about them returning as all-staters from last year.
Right. So you had Kyle Langelier, you have Michael Walkos, you have Gabe Zacco in that 4x4 also, all returning all-staters. So we had 3 complete legs out of the 4x4 that finished second the year before. We thought we had an excellent opportunity to maybe win the whole thing. So and then the other 2 with Kyle and Michael, they had an excellent opportunity to place high in the 400 meters this year also. If not, we had some extra parts that we didn't have the luxury the year before. Maybe we would have moved somebody to a different event. Maybe the 200 just to score added points that we weren't looking at the year before. So it was exciting. It's one of those blessings that you have as a coach that you see guys develop, and you see them develop through 4 years. And there's nothing like being and Mr. Hespel will attest to this. There's nothing like watching the kids performing well at Charleston and then getting their medals on this award stand. Nothing like it at all. The sheer emotion, not only with the kids, but with the parents and the fans, it's just great.
Yeah, unless you've been down there, I don't think a lot of people realize that Saturday at the state track meet, is all 3 classes going in order. So each event will be class 1A finals, 2A finals, 3A finals, and there's 10,000 plus people in the grandstands at Eastern Illinois watching that. So it's a really cool atmosphere for sure.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere. You meet a lot of people. You talk to a lot of people that are sitting around you, and then they end up starting rooting for your kids. It's just a great situation for coaches, athletes, parents. It's fun.
What else, Mr. Razo? Off the track, anything that you were looking forward to that didn't get to happen? I know it's a little bit different with track. You had a little bit of the indoor season because that starts so early in the winter, but anything you were looking forward to off the track that besides our competition that you missed out on?
Yeah, you always miss out. And again, I guess it's my experience now. I just enjoy watching athletes perform, no matter if there are athletes or other people athletes, other teams and stuff. It's just a pleasure watching them to perform throughout the year. But this year, again, it was going to be special for us to watch how we develop as a group. We had a great opportunity with some of the new guys. They were just improving, strive for, meet after meet, getting better, showing development, showing improvement on form and technique. So it was just exciting, and I missed that. I missed that whole segment of watching kids develop, and even the guys like Kyle and Mike. I miss watching them grow and getting their times, because there's nothing like that excitement after they walk off the track and you see, wow, you did it. You had this time. You had just PR'd. A lot of energy that's gone. But it happened for a reason. Hopefully we can grow as a group, and we move on. So the only thing is I'll miss those guys, those seniors that didn't get an opportunity to get back on that award stand one more time.
I got my track shirt on, Razo.
I see that. That's good.
I would wear mine, but I've never been given one. So
yeah, well, that's because you never went out for track when you're in high school. So
you wouldn't let me.
Yeah, You're one of those guys. Oh, no, I don't need that. I gotta get bigger.
Any other questions to care for Razo before we wrap it up and move on?
No, I think the burning question for me is, when am I getting my steak sandwich from the Michigan Notre Dame bet?
I do owe you one, don't I? So, yeah, I owe you one for the first time in a number of years. So we'll see.
Well, you know what? Just instead of that, just owe me, now that you've been on the show. You'll come on anytime we ask moving forward. Recurring guest, Coach Razo.
I will.
He's always got an opinion.
Maybe. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys' work on this. It's awesome.
Job, Coach.
Good job.
All right, Coach Razo, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you later.
Yep. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
That's Coach Tom Razo from the boys track and field team. He, like he said, we had a talented group led by Kyle and Mike. Kyle's going to go run at Illinois State, and Mike Walkos is going to go run at Dartmouth in the Ivy League. So they're both they were 5th and 6th in the state in the 400 last year as juniors, and then the 4x4 relay was state runner-up, just barely state runner-up. But those guys coming back, sophomore Gabe Zacco coming back. We had a couple other hurdlers, some good depth in the distance running side. We had Mike Grado in the long jump. And then we had several football and basketball guys, Will Orban, Ty Schultz, Angelo Vasilakis. Tyrell Harris was going to be out once he was healthy. So we had a nice little group of sprinters. It was we finished 6th in the state 2 of the last 3 years, top 10. We thought we were right there again this year, so it was disappointing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the way the cookie crumbles. And
as
you got as they say, and you got your parting shot in there for the track T-shirt. So those are hot.
Got to add to my collection.
Hot commodity, these track T-shirts. Yeah, so we're going to shift our gear here to Coach Andy Satunas of the baseball team. What an honor. So as soon as he dials in, we'll shift our gears to baseball. I know they had a lot planned. They've had, a deep history, of course, in the boys baseball program at Lockport High School, and they've been good the last few years as well. What are your thoughts on baseball before we get Coach Satunas in here?
Yeah, I'm obviously, I had the pleasure of coaching with Coach Satunas in the baseball program for 6 years. And, they're just a top notch, like you said, deep history, a lot of Porter pride in that program. And the coaching staff top to bottom was awesome. They welcomed me with open arms, and the community, it's just great. And, they play in probably the toughest conference in the state, and year in and year out, they're competitive right there at the top, if not conference champs. And then every year that regional is a tough gauntlet, which just makes you a better baseball team, because the team that comes out of that, has got a great shot. So a lot of good memories. I'm excited to talk to Coach Satunas. That's definitely some T-shirts that I am not running low on. An abundance there, but always good to talk some baseball here.
So here we go. We are joined by boys baseball coach Andy Satunas. What's up, Coach Satunas? How you doing today?
Hey, doing great. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I thought I got ejected before the game even began.
Yes, you got to run real quick. We had a quick hook back here. We don't have time to mess around. So
I hear you.
We're
log into my anonymous Gmail account.
Yeah, there you go. Watch from the dugout. We're here on the Porter Pridecast. We just talked to volleyball and water polo and track. So we want to talk a little bit of baseball. So do you care? Fire away with Coach Satunas here.
Yeah, I got my ace there for you, Coach Satunas. We're just talking about the 2020 season that unfortunately didn't get to happen. I know you guys had a lot of excitement coming in, a lot of key pieces coming back on the mound, and some position players, some few year starters there. So just kind of wondering, what was your outlook on how you thought the season was going to go on the field this year?
I mean, the great thing about baseball is you're always excited for the start of the season, and the sky's the limit. And we had a lot of key pieces coming back, just like you were speaking on there. Some really good senior arms on the mound, guys who had experience on varsity, guys who are going on to continue to pitch in college. You went ahead and you basically had a four-head monster between Nolan Valchek, who was going to be attending a junior college out in Iowa. We had Jake Camp, who's going down to Heartland Community College, who's a two-way player for us. Then we had a lefty, Brian Main, who's going to Concordia up in Michigan and Ann Arbor. Shout out to you, Decatur, Ann Arbor.
Go Blue.
And finally,
it's not the same school, Decatur.
I know, but it's in town.
Close enough.
Yeah, and then Vinny Sartori, who's going to Concordia of Chicago. So, having those four guys, four senior pitchers, they can get you somewhere. Usually you're searching for five, and by the end of the year. And then we had a lot of underclassmen pitchers who were going to have a chance to contribute also. So, it leaves a real sour taste in your mouth to have your season taken away from you. You never want to, not be able to play. You never want to go out without a fight. And, to see, those four senior pitchers and then our senior position players have the season taken away from them, it's just huge disappointment.
Yeah, no doubt. So a nice little group there of guys going on to play in college from the pitching. Were there any other kids that are going to play collegiately besides those pitchers?
Yeah, we have Mike Pavizza, who's going to a junior college up north in Lake County. And we also had Marcos Valgaris, even though he won't be playing baseball in college, he'll be playing football at Butler. And then just checking my list, we had 11 total seniors. The other guys, Peyton Collins going on to Grand Valley State University as an offensive lineman. Then we also had Tony Blaskovich, who will be attending JJC as a student. George Andretich, who will be attending one of the directional Michigans as a student. I always get it wrong. I want to say it's Western, but Georgie was a soccer player also on our great soccer team that we had. And finally, Jake Dagus, who will be going to University of Iowa. So, you know, that was our senior class there. And, you know, it was 11 guys, and they played a lot of ball together since they were little kids, you know, growing up in Homer, Crest Hill, and Lockport. And then through travel times and junior high ball and all that. So, you know, we just wanted to give them an opportunity to go out one more time together. And we're still hoping that in July, you know, if some of the sanctions or whatever they call these things, once these phases advance, that we might be able to do something at the field.
Yeah, that's a good group, and it's always a disappointment, you know, you don't get to see them compete. Like you said, you at least want to. It's one thing to compete and to ultimately, you know, get beat by someone in the playoffs or something like that. At least you know you were out there competing. So it's a tough pill to swallow for sure. So let's talk briefly about what were you looking forward to off the field this season. What are a couple of highlights that, you know, I know you guys always have some big stuff planned off the field. So can you talk briefly about one or two of those things?
Yeah, and I got to give one more shout out to Nick Schindler. I forgot Nick. Nick's going to Kankakee Community College to play ball. He was a senior catcher, first baseman for us. So sorry, Nick. You know you're my guy. Hey, off the field, we got to do our dad's jersey ceremony. That was our last official practice of the year, where the dads are able to give their sons their jersey. Senior dads stand up and speak about their sons in front of everybody. You know, we missed our trip to St. Louis. We were looking forward to that. We go down on a Friday, play 2 games, spend the night, get 2 more games on Saturday, and come home. And we're going to play some really good competition down there. We missed our mom's dinner, where the sons actually stand up and give a speech about their moms and share dinner with them. And then last but not least, we had the Bajensky tournament, which is the best tournament, you know, one of the best tournaments in the nation, that got canceled with all the awesome schools from around here. The last event that we, you know, missed out on, which is the biggest one because it's a way for us to help others in our community and the area, is Strikeout Cancer event. You know, us and the softball team work together, and we play 13 games in one day out at the A Field complex. We host Minooka for 5 baseball games. They've hosted different schools like down or south in Minooka before. And, you know, that's a day, if it's a beautiful day outside, we run a good chance of raising, you know, $10,000 for the Make Your Mark Foundation. And that's for Mark Staley. He was a young man from Minooka who had pediatric cancer, passed away. And so his parents and relatives set up this foundation. And they take the money that we raise that day, and it's called, it goes to family assistance. Yeah, so, I mean, those were the off-the-field things that, you know, you just miss spending that time with your players family, your family. You know, everybody becomes part of the team. And, it's just, you know, I'm 31 years old, been involved in baseball since, you know, 4 years old, and I've never had a baseball season taken away from me. And I feel for these kids.
Yeah, definitely rough, but, you know, you got to play the hand you're dealt at this point, I guess. And you guys have set up a great program with all kinds of stuff on and off the field. So
thank you.
Any final thoughts here before we move on?
Yeah, no, just like I said, had the honor and privilege to coach, you know, with Coach Satunas in the baseball program for 6 years. Made me a much better coach, both in baseball as well as football. You know, so thank you for that. And the one positive I think to come out of this is all those seniors you named that are going off to play in college. You know, so to continue to watch them succeed and have that success, you know, that's a byproduct of everything that you did with them at Lockport.
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you. And it's the community, the feeders, you know, their travel coaches, their parents, and the teachers. I mean, everybody there at the school who contributes to their success. So, you know, man, go Porters. Great place to be. Can't wait to get it.
Go anchor down in Wisconsin.
All right, Coach Satunas. Thanks for joining us, man. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, see you. See you guys.
Yeah.
And we are shifting gears here. Joined by Lockport Athletic Director, Mr. Mike Dwyer. Can you hear us, Mr. Dwyer?
All right, am I on?
There you are. There he is.
Oh.
First athletic director on in the program history.
First athletic director.
AD.
Yeah. Woo.
Wow, what an honor, guys. What an honor, I'll tell you.
He's making us look bad, DeCare, because the hair is combed. It looks good. Me and DeCare, we have no
Long
chance.
overdue for a haircut, fellas, though. Long overdue.
Thanks for joining us, Mr. Dwyer. Thanks for being
here.
on.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Just want to talk a little bit about Lockport Athletics, what did happen and what didn't happen. DeCare, fire away.
Yeah, so our first series, first 5 episodes, we kind of focus on the top 10 highlights from the fall and winter seasons that were able to happen. Wanted to focus on some of those positives. So just as the athletic director of Lockport, you kind of oversee all sports. Just kind of looking for some of your thoughts on some of the highlights and successes that were able to happen in the fall and winter seasons this year.
Yeah, well, first of all, again, thanks for having me. You guys have been doing a great job with this. Been a lot of fun to watch and kind of see the kids and hear some of their thoughts on some of the great things that happened. Had a tremendous fall, highlighted by, again, Ben Sluz's second state championship, individual state championship in boys golf. Girls volleyball was able to capture a regional title on our home floor, which was really cool. Obviously our girls cross country team had a tremendous season, winning the regional. Going on, doing really well there at sectional and state. So it was a tremendous fall all around, but, winter season really kind of kicked things up a notch, as well, with, wrestling just having a dominating season once again, 3 state medalists from their program. Obviously, the girls bowling program did some tremendous things with the regional, conference, sectional championship, state championship. Our co-ed cheer team, once again, just dynamic, finishing 3rd. In the state. Boys bowling finished in the top 10 this year, with their own regional title. So a lot overall from the fall and the winter, we had over 14 either conference, regional, or sectional championships. And that's an outstanding number and a real testament to, not only our coaching staff, but just to our kids and our student athletes. So just a tremendous fall and winter season. And I know you talked to a couple coaches here already this morning about the spring. We were looking forward to even bigger things from the spring. Obviously our boys track team, softball, baseball, but really want to give a shout out to our lacrosse programs, girls lacrosse, boys lacrosse. We're really kind of starting to push the envelope and become real competitive in their respective sports. Obviously the water polo teams here at Lockport are always dynamic and extremely competitive. So would have been a great spring as well. So
this guy's like a professional. He just segues himself right into it's amazing.
Hey, see, I watch the show, so I kind of know how it goes,
So just thoughts from your perspective about, obviously it's not easy for the kids who had to miss, especially seniors who had to miss out on a spring season. Any thoughts from your perspective on just that whole situation?
Yeah, you just, your heart certainly goes out to all the student athletes, the coaches, the parents, the community. You certainly feel for them that they weren't able to compete and all the preparation and hard work, dedication that they showed to prepare for those seasons. The tryouts, the 5 a.m. morning practices, those kind of things. So your heart really goes out to them. But hopefully not lost in all of that were some of the lessons that they learned, of the dedication and the hard work and the character that it takes to be a student athlete. And those lessons will continue to translate for them and help them to continue to be successful, as they leave us here. But just, really heartfelt for all those guys and girls and coaches and community members. So.
So, DeCare, any other thoughts that you want Mr. Dwyer to hit on here?
No, I just wanted to personally.
Yeah. Home run.
I think this might be the last time we have him on, or else he might take our jobs.
He can fill in when you get a laryngitis at some point, DeCare.
No, just wanted to personally thank you, your office, Coach Kinane, I know this has not been easy for you guys, and especially now with kind of the slow phasing back, we're able to start football this week. Even though it's just some conditioning, it's just great to be back on the field. And I know that's been a lot of work behind the scenes. That doesn't always get noticed. So just want to say thank you. And excited to get back to some normalcy here.
Yeah, for sure. A little light at the end of the tunnel. It was great to see kids back on our campus and coaches interacting with the kids. And it was a lot of fun to see that and to kind of watch that the last couple of days. So a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully some more news coming from the IHSA next week. Hopefully we'll have an update for everybody with summer camps and those kinds of things very soon. So thanks again for all the things that you guys are doing too. It's tremendous, the reach that you guys have, and shedding some light on some of these things is really inspirational from you guys. So thank you very much too.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for joining us live from the office. He's in the office grinding away. So, Mr. Dwyer, thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon there.
All right. Thank you, guys. Great job.
So that gives us a little perspective of from the administrative side. That's Mr. Dwyer, athletic director. He did touch on the fact that the summer here, early June, is kind of ramping back up slowly with some conditioning and things like that. So hopefully we get to a fall where we can see all the Porters back in action.
Forgot to mention that's Mr. Dwyer, former Porter as well.
That's right, alum. We should have said
three alumni
on the show. All right, let's move. Let's roll on to softball with Coach Marissa Chovanec. We can talk to her briefly about her softball season. There she is. Hi, Coach Chovanec. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing great.
I was getting nervous. I didn't want to miss my time.
You're right on the money. We were wrapping up with Mr. Dwyer just a second ago. So thanks for joining us here on the Porter Pridecast to talk a little Lockport softball.
Sure.
We've talked to several coaches here in the spring and just wanted to get their thoughts on what they were looking forward to that unfortunately didn't really get to happen. So DeCare, fire away for Coach Chovanec there.
Yeah, Coach, thanks for coming on. I know you guys were coming off a great season last year, undefeated in conference, another regional championship, deep run into the sectionals. I believe it was lost to Joliet West in the sectional championship in a close one. So I know you had some excitement coming back, some key players coming back. So just kind of looking, what was your outlook for this season on the field?
We had 12 seniors returning this year. So we called them, Randy Whelan called them the Delightful Dozen. We were able to have one interview going into the season on picture day, March, what was it, the 11th, 12th, whatever that was. And Gianna got interviewed and he coined them the Delightful Dozen. So, they were great leaders. They experienced what it was like to be at that, just knocking on that door state run. And that was our expectation.
Can you just talk briefly about some of those seniors and just share who they were? And
on the mound we had Gianna Bauer, Maddie Kundrat, and Alyssa Drugmiller returning. Behind the plate, Angel Bills, Maya Renfro. We had Sydney Bush, Marissa McElligott. We had the Reardon twins on the left side. And the outfield was returning and just dynamic out there with Brooke Lagacki, Haley Panfill, and Danny Travis. So, there's not too many teams that walk in and they're all returning from last year. Like second base was our only open spot, losing the senior from last year. And we had Kate Wolf coming in and really filling those shoes, and just really looking forward to what they would do this year. All 4 years, that group of seniors has been outstanding. I think they maybe had one loss in their freshman and sophomore year because I kept them together. We kept them together and traveled together. We had very few losses last year. You said, coming off a great run, undefeated in conference. Just really excited about what that team, because very few teams are able to be, just better. And
that close.
They definitely brought that to the field.
It's interesting. We talked to boys track coach Tom Razo a little earlier, and he was kind of the same. He had a couple all-staters coming back for track. The 4x4 relay was returning all-staters. And so we also talked to some coaches who were excited about seeing a bunch of new faces join in. So it's interesting, it kind of got everybody from both sides. Like the anticipation of, of a great season lost is just rough. Do you have any sense of what it was like for seniors to miss out on all that? Or
throughout our stay-at-home order and the quarantine, we still tried to do just keep some traditions alive. We use a social app that's just for our team. It's not for everybody to see, and we checked in every day, Monday through Saturday. We did some like TikTok Thursdays, so just things to help them remember the season. Sydney Bush every year has put together a compilation of video, and this year was like no other, and she put it together for the team. We were able to finish up last Thursday. Dr. McBride and Mr. Dwyer let us do an end of the year season. It was like Ravinia. Everyone was spread out on the grass and everything. So I think, when it goes to those seniors, finding ways just to keep them connected and sending pictures or something fun that was away from softball, because I think we knew it was Friday the 13th. We all should have known there was some omen over our head, right? But it's funny that I was thinking about this on the way in. Today is the 12th and 13th. Tomorrow would have been the state championship, June 13th. We went out on the 13th. We were going to come back on the 13th, right? And that number in Lockport softball's history has had lots of meaning. Number 13, lots of great athletes wore that jersey number. So it just was fitting that it all ended on the 13th. So,
yeah. It's hard to really put into words what the experience was like, especially for a student. I mean, we get to go back to another season next year. And hopefully. Hopefully, right. Some of those kids, that's it, that was the last chance. So that's really tough.
Of our 12 seniors, 10 of them are going to get to play in college, which is awesome. But like you said, Gianna and Sydney, they had decided that this was going to be it for them. And Gianna was a 4-year varsity player. So to not get to play her senior season or any of the other 11, their senior seasons, you just can't, I can't even imagine. But I think closure in general, that they were able to have that, their parents were able to have that last Thursday, because so many other things, graduation, prom, senior, so many other things, not been able to celebrate. And I think it was definitely an important evening, emotional, all those things that they were grateful to have.
Saw that on social media. The field looks great.
I know. I feel terrible that they didn't get to play on it, but that we didn't get to celebrate it. I mean, Tony and Bill and Ben, Roger, I mean, it's amazing out there. It rivals with any college stadium, to be honest.
That's awesome.
I can't wait to have games out there.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, you guys have barely seen it. So like a lot of people have just seen it if they've driven by, but some of those pictures I was like, wow, can't wait to check it out myself.
I know. They've got this like the extra dirt, I call it the berm, out behind right center, and I could just totally see kids and parents up there watching the game, so
awesome.
Next year.
DeCare, any other thoughts for Coach Chovanec?
Yeah, no, just thanks for coming on. A lot of great memories. Softball, always competitive. My senior year, you guys won the state championship, so that was awesome.
That was a long time ago, DeCare.
That was a long time ago.
You're getting old, man.
I know, unfortunately, but a lot of good memories. We were talking to Coach Satunas, so getting to coach baseball for 6 years and working alongside your program with the Strikeout for Cancer. Those are just great events, and you run a top-notch program. So
when the kids were asked what their favorite events were, every single one of them always included Strikeout for Cancer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a great day for us, for our kids in the community. It's amazing. Next year.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for talking a little bit Porter softball, and we missed the season along with you, and good to see you.
You too. See you guys.
Take care.
Thanks, Coach.
That's Coach Chovanec from the softball program joining us. So there you have it, DeCare. We heard from Coach Mraz, boys volleyball, Coach Sanderson, girls water polo, Coach Razo, boys track and field, Coach Satunas, baseball, Coach Chovanec, softball, and Mr. Dwyer, our athletic director. What are your final thoughts here on the spring season that wasn't?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously getting to talk to all those coaches, and then, like you said, the unique kind of administrator perspective from Coach Dwyer. A lot of excitement. Looked like a lot of good things were happening or planning to happen in the spring. And it obviously it hurts, and I feel for all those student athletes and the families, like every coach said. But the light or the positive out of this, I think, is all those coaches who spotlighted the seniors that are going on to continue, in their respective sports. So even though, they kind of lost their senior season, that one that you really look forward to, they're going to get to continue on that career that not a lot of athletes have the opportunity to. So, wish it could have happened, but a lot of good things, happened in the 2019, 2020 seasons for the fall and winter. And then, like I said, a lot of good things were on the docket for the spring.
I'll tell you what stands out to me the most is, like, I don't know that there's too many schools that have the variety of success across the board that Lockport has. I know there's lots of schools that might be, top-notch programs in this sport, but we're really fortunate to have a school, a community, leadership in our school, and then the kids, most importantly, who can be great from the bowling alley to the swimming pool to the baseball field and everything in between. And seeing that with our top 10 list and just kind of rehashing some of that and then talking to some of these spring coaches, it really stands out to me how fortunate everybody in our community is to be able to take part in Porter tradition in all kinds of sports.
Yep.
So always good to be a Porter. That kind of brings us to the end here of episode 6 then, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so.
Porter Pridecast going strong. That's our look back at 2019, 2020. Again, this was the year of COVID-19, which started off back in the fall of 2019, and no one even knew what that meant. And here we are now, and we haven't been on campus in a couple months, and we're just starting to get back. Our hope would be that in 2020, 2021, we can bring you some regular programming live from our Porter Pridecast studio, which we haven't even been in yet.
No.
You don't even understand how amazing our Porter Pridecast studio is. You'll see
you want to talk about how nice the softball field is. Wait till you see the Pridecast studio.
They're tucked away in Central Campus in the bowels, deep in the bowels. So our hope is to bring a regular show in 2020, 2021, where we recap what's been happening and we preview what's about to happen on a weekly basis. And then we get a special guest each time to talk about something that's going on in the life of Lockport High School and in our community. And there's a bunch of other events outside of athletics that eventually we want to touch on that we just haven't come up yet in the course of our brief history of the show. You excited about that? Or I know you are.
Yeah, no, it was excited to get this off the ground and running. So just continue to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, spread the word. Like I said, we want to get into a more consistent routine and bring you some happenings, not just in Porter Athletics, because like Coach Espel said, there's Porter Pride all around the school and all the different clubs and activities, so we want to really highlight everything that we can, everything Lockport. And
stay tuned, because over the summer months, we are putting together a special series looking back on, well, I don't want to give it away. We got to leave it as a cliffhanger. You need to stay tuned and check back in for episode 7. And we can bring you a little Lockport history, and maybe you'll even see some guest appearances from some Lockport legends. Is that a fair thing to say?
I'd say that's a nice thing to leave them with.
To be continued. ... All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. As always, this is the only place you can get this kind of analysis on all things Lockport Porters. Good to see everybody. And go Porters. We'll talk to you soon.
Go Porters.